CMF Series 26 brought us 12 amazing space figures, but many of the figures in the series actually connect to classic space themes and older CMFs. So let's dive into the universe of LEGO Space and take a deeper look at some of the figures in this line. The first figure is connected to 2012's Galaxy Squad. The main story of Galaxy Squad is about a mysterious race of evil bugoids that are swarming across the galaxy, capturing civilians and turning every planet they capture into a bugoid hive. The Beetlezoid has a massive beetle head that's actually transparent purple in the back. It also has these beetle wings that are printed. In Galaxy Squad, we got many different insect bad guys, such as the Mosquitoid, Bugoid, and Mantisoid. The torso of the Beetlezoid is very similar to that of the Bugoid. Between that and the similar names, I definitely think this figure is connected to Galaxy Squad. Even if that's not how LEGO intended this figure, it still works perfectly with the story. Maybe the reason why we didn't see them in the theme is because they're taking over a different planet. No matter what, this figure has amazing army building potential. I mean, it'd be so cool to have a swarm of these guys attacking any space theme. He also pairs well with the Galaxy Trooper from Series 13, who's also connected to Galaxy Squad. In 1990, we got M-Tron, a sub-theme of LEGO Space. They are described as a rescue, repair, and mining faction. CMF Series 26 gave us an updated M-Tron figure. He keeps the same design as the OG figure with white arms and legs and a red torso with the M-Tron logo. They did add some updated printing to the torso and legs. The helmet is an updated helmet, but it's still black. However, the green visor is printed onto the figure with a heads-up display. Now, something I love about this figure is the fact that it's not just an updated figure, but it also adds a new role to the faction, because this is the M-Tron Powerlifter. That's why he has hydraulics on his legs. He also has this awesome pack that gives him a larger hand to lift bigger items with. In a lot of M-Tron photos, they have these cases that figures are lifting. So I'm guessing after a few people got injured due to lifting these heavy boxes, HR had to step in, so they created these Powerlifter devices. Also, the box that comes with this figure uses the same design and colors as some of the printed parts from the M-Tron theme. One of M-Tron's enemies also showed up in the CMF wave. When a Blacktron criminal tries to steal a mysterious green ooze, the vat breaks, turning him into the Blacktron mutant. There have been two different themes based around the criminal organization Blacktron. The first came out in 1987 and had a yellow and black color scheme with a yellow triangle logo. This is what the Blacktron Cruiser GWP is based on. The second came out in 1991 and was called Blacktron 2 or Blacktron Future Generations, which had a black, white, and green color scheme. This is what the Blacktron mutant is based on. Original Blacktron minifigures had a Blacktron logo on a white torso with black arms and white legs. LEGO basically kept this design for the Blacktron mutant, except with some additional detail on the torso and legs. Oh, and half of the CMF is mutated. His specialized left arm part only has come on two other figures, Rio Durant from Star Wars Solo and Stitch from the Disney CMF line. Now, to understand why this figure is a mutant doesn't bother me, I want to first look at all the other Blacktron figures we have gotten. The original Blacktron 1 figures were an all-black flight suit. In CMF Series 3, we got the evil villain, who is a cyborg that has the Blacktron 2 logo on it. In his bio, it talks about him stealing or dueling it out with many other space factions. The evil mech came in CMF Series 11 and has a Blacktron 1 logo on its chest. His bio mentions that he's the top cyber slicer for Blacktron. Another figure that has a Blacktron 1 logo is the Series 19 Galactic Bounty Hunter. The final figure is Wrench from LEGO Space Police 3. He has a Blacktron 1 torso with a Blacktron 2 logo on it. His bio says he's hired muscle for the Space Bikers gang. These guys are criminals, and since their original release, they have come in many different forms. I think it's awesome that LEGO made the figure similar to old Blacktron for those who wanted to make an updated figure, but also changed up the figure so it was unique. This figure just fits in so well with the criminal enterprise. I will say though, Blacktron criminals really need to protect their left side better. By the way, turning this figure into a normal Blacktron astronaut is very easy and looks really good. I also recommend taking the helmet from the M-Tron CMF figure, or the space villain as other helmet options to make this figure feel more modern. Another group that Blacktron targets also makes an appearance in the series. Iceplanet 2002 came out in 1993 and was similar to M-Tron because it focused on a more civilian-based faction. The theme revolved around a team of researchers doing top-secret research on the planet Cristo that has a vast network of frozen tunnels and caves. Blacktron would attack the Iceplanet team to try to steal their technology. Series 26 gave us another member of the Iceplanet team. Now, originally I had a completely different script for this figure with all these different theories and ideas about her, but thanks to a comment on one of my videos, videos, I was actually able to find out one of the team members who designed this figure. Senior designer at the LEGO group, Chris Perron, designed the helmet for this figure and even made a post giving some insight into the design of the Iceplanet Explorer. I highly recommend checking out this post. Now, I do want to quickly say Chris is not the only designer who worked on this figure. There were other people who worked on this figure, like Tor, who did the graphic design. Also, if you are not already, go follow Chris because he is making some awesome mocks and has done some sick Iceplanet ones. I definitely got a lot of inspiration just looking through his page. Because of all this, I decided to reach out to him. He was super kind and allowed me to ask some questions to get even more insight into this figure. The Iceplanet Explorer was designed to be a separate piece of equipment and not a replacement to the original Iceplanet figures. The figure was designed to be able to survive in rougher conditions so it could dive deeper into many dangerous areas. When I asked Chris if the helmet was supposed to be a reimagining of the original or a new helmet, he had a lot to say on it and talked about why the figure was designed the way it was. So I'm just going to read what he told me because it's way better than I could ever summarize. I tried to reference a lot of design language and details of the old ones, but I see it as a separate piece of equipment rather than a replacement. The organic visors have quite a few curving and organic blending shapes, contrasting with a lot of hard edges and faceted slopes you see in the vehicles. I was also studying the shapes and patterns you see in the graphic design of the original pieces, so I was trying to capture references and balance all of that while still making something that felt new but not out of place. It's kind of like how you have regular firefighters, and then you have the bomb squad, who are heavily geared up for more dangerous conditions. That's how I imagine this figure. Rather than a full exposed visor, it's just a narrow slit surrounded by white armor to be more protected and durable. The hoses are built into the helmet. The bulky shoulder pads and armor provide protection from ice/snow cave-ins. I like to think the Penguin Companion 2 is for helping scout out narrow ice tunnels, or can go get help in case there are cave-ins. I played a lot of the Rock Raiders video game as a kid, so I gathered some inspiration from there too. This statement about why this figure was designed the way it was is one of the reasons I redid my whole script for this figure, because I started to look at the Iceplanet Explorer so differently. If you look at this figure and the original Iceplanet astronaut, you do see similarities. First off is the color scheme, and secondly is the belt with the robot's face on it. But the Explorer does not have any air tanks or printed hoses. But it makes so much sense because, as Chris said, they're in the helmet now, so they're not in the way. It also makes sense why she has ice cleats on her feet. I mean, you could say it's because LEGO didn't do leg printing back then. Or you could say the in-lore reason is because the old figures used skis or drove vehicles, so they didn't need them. Whereas the Explorer would need better grip while going through caves. Now, I will say this new helmet does work with LEGO air tanks. Chris said this was on purpose so you can mix and match elements. He even designed the antenna so it's the same height and location as the old ones. So when building vehicles, they could easily be interchanged. One of people's biggest questions about this figure is she a reference to an old character. In Iceplanet 2002, we got 3 different characters: the Iceplanet astronaut, Commander Cold, and Dr. Calvin. Because of the Explorer's red hair, many have theorized this is Dr. Calvin. When I asked Chris about this, he said, "Personally, I like to think it's a new character, but it's been 30 years since Iceplanet, so maybe this is her daughter." She was definitely made to reference Dr. Calvin though. Now, this isn't the first time Chris worked on a set that gave us an Iceplanet reference. He was also one of the designers on the Lunar New Year Ice Festival. In that set are 2 snow jackets with the Iceplanet logo on it. One of the figures wears an orange hat and has a white beard. This figure is actually an Easter egg that Chris did to Commander Cold. The torso design was made by another LEGO designer, Austin, but when it came to the Iceplanet Explorer minifigure, the graphic designer on it, Tor, referenced Austin's work and made it more sci-fi to fit into the space theme. That's why we see a lot of similarities between these 2 designs. The final part of this figure is the chainsaw. People's biggest problem with it is that it's transparent orange instead of transparent neon orange. Sadly, neon orange was discontinued in 2022. Chris actually addressed this in his post. Trans neon orange is not currently part of our color portfolio, and we debated how to best treat the iconic chainsaw. We figured it was best to include it, as it's a super cool element in trans orange, and it's easy to swap out to neon if you'd like. I like the story that this is what Iceplanet chainsaws look like when they are turned off, and they only go neon when they're on. Plus, this has a fun implication that up until now, all Iceplanet minifigs have been running around with live chainsaws. It's super cool that they made the slight color change a lore reason, and it actually makes a lot of sense. Overall, this figure is amazing and definitely one of my favorite figures in this line. I love that, like the M-Tron powerlifter, they added another roll/look to the theme. You can definitely tell the designers are huge Iceplanet fans and put a lot of love into this figure. Again, I just want to thank Chris for his insight, and I just highly recommend going and following him. Now, there are a few figures that connect to older Lego CMFs that I want to talk about. But before I talk about those, if you have enjoyed me connecting these figures to the greater space universe, hit that like button and subscribe because I love finding the different connections in Lego. She might not be a part of any classic space theme, but the retro space heroine is the other half to the retro space duo. The first figure in that duo came out in Series 17 with the retro space hero. There are very similar designs between both of them, such as the lightning bolt around their waists, the stripes on their legs, and how their arms both have this atomic symbol. She also adds her trusty sidekick, which is a robot bulldog. The nurse droid brings a few different connections. The first is that she has a symbol on her chest, which is the Lego medical logo, but it's not the same medical logo that we see in Lego City sets. This one has 7 points instead of 6. So my theory is that this is the space medical logo. The second logo is this one on her arm. It's a triangle with a line under it. Now I've only seen this on 2 other figures. The first time I saw this was on the Robot Warrior from Series 24. It appears on both his legs and this 1x1 tile that comes on his weapon, but it also appears on the Robot Butler from Series 26. If you take off the fishbowl he wears and look at the back of his head, you can see the same logo. My theory is that this is a new symbol that a Lego designer is using on space robots, because I can't find it on anything before Series 24. I will say this is a very similar logo to eject buttons for discs and VHS. Even though I love the nurse droid, the big highlight of this figure is that it also comes with a pink space baby. This is the 3rd space baby we have gotten. For those who don't know, the 1978 space figures have become iconic for their solid color with space logo and smiley faces. Since the release, we have gotten many different colors in this style: orange, white, pink, green, and many more. In Series 24, we got a brown classic spaceman with a blue space baby. Since then, we have gotten a white one and now a pink baby. This pink space baby is a great addition to the classic space minifigure lineup, and I hope we get more baby space in the future. That's all the major Easter eggs and connections I could find to old Lego themes in CMF Series 26. Overall, this series is awesome and just gave us a ton of cool new parts. I do wish we had gotten a Rock Raiders throwback in this series, but what we got was still amazing. What Lego space themes would you have liked Lego to reference in this series?